Hey, what's up guys? Big day today. We're here in New York City. We're headed to VaynerMedia this morning to do the podcast with Gary Vee. What time is it? It's about 8:30, so we're gonna hop in an Uber. We're gonna meet Brodie, his business partner, CEO of Empathy Wines. Meet him for some coffee, and then we'll go upstairs. We'll do the podcast with Gary. That is what's happening. That's what you can expect. Let's go.
I want the world, yeah, I want the world, yeah, I want it all, said I want the world, yeah, I want the world, I'm coming to get it, don't care what you heard, don't care what you heard, I'm taking it all cause I want the world, yeah, I want the world, yeah, I want the world. It's too easy.
How are you?
Good morning.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
How you doing?
Thanks for meeting us.
Yeah, this is Stu.
Stu, I'm Beav. Good to meet you.
Hey, how you doing?
Alex, sorry.
Alex.
And Stu, right?
Yeah.
I'm terrible with names, so I'm going to ask you again in like 5 minutes.
One more time for you.
Yeah, right?
I was psyched to bring Stu's our creative director.
Oh,
but
cool.
he also, when I
Awesome.
was telling him I was coming to meet you guys, he's like, wait, I know their brand.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can talk to
We
you.
track you around the internet.
I was like, I got to carry that purple bag. I'm like, I do not look like the kind of guy that wants to wear purple stuff, you know? Like, of course I'm happy to do it, but like given the choice, I'm like, I'm getting my own, because I was so hands-on. Like, I always had the diaper bag. And my wife worked full-time till 11 o'clock at night. We were grinding it, trying to early, new parents, young, trying to make it, you know? And building custom cars.
Custom cars.
Yeah. So I came from an automotive background, and but I did upholstery in cars too. So when this all came about, I made the first bags because I have a sewing machine, and you know, so I still make a lot of samples and prototypes and do a lot of that stuff myself, which is fun. But anyway, so I was like, well, I want my own diaper bag. So I go to Google, and this is 2013, right? And I'm like, it's got to be a cool men's diaper bag out there. And like, nothing, you know, it's just like a black or gray version of a woman's diaper bag, and still just looked like a woman's diaper bag. And I was like, no, I want something cool. I mean, like cool. And it didn't exist, so I created it. And I was like, well, there's no way I'm the only dude that feels this way.
When you created it, was it purely for yourself at the time? Or was
Initially it was, and then I had that aha light bulb moment of, wait a minute, all of my buddies feel the exact same way. So here's a small circle, and I know I'm not the only one because I'm part of all these other communities that are very much the same. So I'm like, So then like that night I was on GoDaddy, and I was on LegalZoom and all the things, just like making it happen. And then I haven't stopped since, you know, so that was July 2013, and that's been like a grind it out till 2 a.m. sort of a deal. Until recently, we've built more and more infrastructure where it's like, all right, the 2 a.m. nights are kind of over, you know, but we've grown it from nothing to, you know, we're on track to do about this year, and it's 6 years, so. But I built the whole thing on Instagram.
So this was like early days of Instagram, 2015.
This is 2013.
2013, okay.
Yeah, when like I leveraged some of my connections in the automotive industry with some of the like influencers, you know, that like to get a shout out from my buddy that had 400,000 followers back then was serious. You know what I mean?
Did you know what you were doing at the time? Like, or was it just like
Fuck no.
Instagram felt intuitive?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I knew that there was a tension there, and I knew how to use the platform and leverage the platform to get in front of people by using hashtags and by, you know, going through the hashtags and engaging with other people within those hashtags, like just the, you know, the typical strategies. But I knew that was a strategy I knew early on. That wasn't anything new to me. So. And I was already playing in that world in the automotive industry. So I was like, well, I just shift gears and do it on this page more now. And so then I'm doing two things at once. And again, it goes back to so much, like I was doing it before I heard it from Gary. So then when I was introduced to Gary's content, I don't even know how that came about. But anyways, I was like, oh, fuck, this guy, this is my guy. You know, I was like, this is what I'm doing already. So I'm so aligned with Gary's methods and mindset and all those things because it's just intuitively what I do already. So I'm like, fuck, I totally get this guy.
I put in work, y'all wanna dream. I got the ethic that works, no one can get it like me. I be in the booth, losing some sleep. I got the ethic that works, no one can get it like me, yeah.
All right, guys, we made it here into VaynerMedia. We had a great time with Trouty, drinking coffee and stew, learning more about empathy wines, kind of exchanging our stories, learning quite a bit from each other. So that was cool. That was fun. Now we just got cameras set up, and we are ready to. They're going to take us to Gary's office here in a few minutes to record the podcast. That's the current update. How are you? I'm Beav.
Beav, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Travis.
Travis, nice to
Really
meet
nice meeting you.
Ryan, nice to meet you as well. We can do
Oh, cool. Whose thing is that?
As you do.
Oh, okay, cool.
Well, they're bringing everybody in.
What's up, dude? How are you?
Really well.
Beav.
Beef.
Really good to meet you. Yeah, man, of course.
Somebody else does this. That's
No
fucking
one's
awesome.
anymore.
I'm already into it.
Yeah, dude.
Good start.
Here you go.
Awesome. Thank you, bro.
Of course.
I fucking love that. That's amazing. That's fucking amazing.
You guys can come in.
Oh.
Do what you gotta do. Yeah.
Yeah, you let's set up a tripod.
Their mic for them.
Yeah.
No, for you.
Got it.
How are things?
Things are well. What's up, bros?
What's going on, man?
How are you?
Great.
Ryan, Travis, this is
What's up,
Alex.
Trav?
Yeah, well, those guys get set up.
Yeah, and we can give you our footage if you want. Of our
Yeah, that would be
like,
awesome too. Yeah. Yeah, the more the better. I mean, you can never have too much, right?
It's true. That's a great spark plug tattoo, bro.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Your business, who are actually willing to give me 20% of their business just cause, let alone something that makes logical sense, is a lot.
Right.
And I need to figure that out. Like my ability to turn that 10 into 100. So if I quit and joined your company, we would do 150 million revenue in 24, 36 months. I truly believe that, whether that's ego or whatever. So,
Now, is that just direct to consumer, or would you go on the retail side?
oh, we're gonna do everything. It's just that I understand DTC so well right now and the vulnerabilities that everybody's about to go into, because the CAC and LTV numbers are upside down and gonna get worse. You know, gets really hard when your core move, whether it's Google AdWords like Wine Library was, or you know, Instagram or Facebook, which was
yeah.
the last generation, or when it becomes
Yeah.
expensive and you haven't built your model on that,
Yeah.
you need to raise capital or get a lot of credit. But then when it gets accelerated worse, and then you get 3 copycat competitors, and away you go. You know, you guys know, you're living it.
We're living it.
You're living it. You know when it was super, super easy. You know when it's you know when, you know. So.
All right, cool.
Let's rock and
Everyone's
roll.
ready? Everyone's good to go?
Yeah, we're rolling.
All right.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Tactical Baby Gear podcast. In this episode, we have with us the one and only Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary Vee. Gary is I'll give you a quick story on Gary, and then we'll get into it. He's an immigrant, came here at 3-4 years old with his family, and came up with nothing, and worked his way into his family liquor store business. Eventually went on to leave that and start a company called VaynerMedia, which is now VaynerX, which is a holding company with lots of other things going on. They do hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue with over 1,000 employees roughly around the world. He's somebody that I admire to the top as a purebred entrepreneur myself. So we're excited to have Gary on, but he's on in this context with Tactical Baby Gear because he attributes so much of his success to parenting and the way he was parented. So that's what we want to hear more about. We want to try to bring some knowledge to all of you new parents, raising your kids, and some of the things that he's seen, which align with a lot of the way I was parented. So there's an unbelievable amount of synergy
That's awesome.
in that world. So we're excited to have you. So thank you.
I appreciate that. And for everybody listening, knowing a lot of you don't know me, not only, you know, I think the focus group of one is extremely dangerous. I think the reason I've gotten more passionate about sharing my thoughts, and by the way, one man's point of view, you know, like anybody else's, is not only do I think that I was quote unquote perfectly parented, which is a working title of a book I want to write, but two, I get fucking 5,000 DMs a month from parents and kids, and so the data now feels scaled to me, and there's a lot of thematics that are very tried and true, and I think we're also feeling the ramifications in the anxiousness and depression. People want to blame social media because they don't want to take accountability. I think the last 20 years of parenting should really be debated.
I put in work, y'all want a dream. I got the ethic that works, no one can get it like me. I be in the booth, losing some sleep. I got the ethic that works, no one can get it like me. I put in work, y'all want a dream.
And what I love about you is what my last statement is the atomic bomb. And we are not going from where we are right now to this nirvana that I've just made up tomorrow.
Right.
And what you're doing is actually
starting it
correct,
early. Yep.
one piece at a time. But this is the it makes 100% intuitive, one man's intuitive sense that the ratio of stay-at-home mom and stay-at-home dad should be 50-50. Mainly because I can think of 30 relationships I know right now where the people are reversed and the stay-at-home mom is the actual fucking alpha and financial strength of the relationship, and the man is actually the nurturing human EQ strength, and just social norms are making them both miserable. And I believe that women have done a much better job in progressing the case of being in the workplace, being the alpha, and that guys have done nothing. They're sitting there knowing, right now somebody's listening to this podcast, and he knows in his soul that he should be at home raising the kids because he would do it better, and that his wife should be fucking working because she would do it better than him. Listen, everything is predicated on stigma. Stigma is the fucking worst. Stigma is alcoholism, abuse, fucking everything, depression, all of it, mental health, all of it is stigma, and we need to attack this one.
The end.
The end.
Guys, Gary, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe so you get so you can watch future podcasts from here. Gary, tell them where they can find you real quick.
Gary Vee everywhere.
Thanks. Peace.
That was awful.
Thank you. That was really good.
That was awful. This is.
That might be you.
That's alright.
That's you, the one with the brown is ours.
Thank you, man. Great job. Yeah, really. Congratulations.
Take a quick photo. I know you're
Let's
probably
do
in
it.
a rush
Yeah,
to
yeah.
leave.
Take a quick
Quick photo.
My friend.
How long are you? Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome. Thank you. Sorry, Alex. Let's fix.
Alright, 1, 2, 5. Beautiful.
We are doing a really cool dad con, like modern dad con, through 1:37 p.m. next year. We'd love to have you guys as a sponsor and make that I think they're doing the packages at $35K.
So we just wrapped up with the podcast with Gary. It went really, really, really well. Super excited about that. A lot of first-time new content for those guys. They were excited, nodding heads like, oh man, we got some great micro content out of this one. So we're super excited about that. Now it's time to I think sit down, digest that, grab some lunch, and carry on with our day from there.
Chase the Jets is my passion.
Of course, that's the game.
I love this game. And by the way, the vanity, the selfish part of me, I pull off that fairy tale, it's gonna be a fucking party. Like if
My favorite line from you is how if you can't, how you're gonna crowdsource it.
Just think about how early it is in my life. Probably a good 20 minimum years away from actually even being in a position or the timing to be able to do it. Just genuinely think about me, where I am right now, at the scale that I'm at now, another 20 years of hardcore propaganda around this mission. Just imagine what happens when it happens. I think it is the singular news event for 24 hours.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild.
There's gonna be so much in the system at that point. Most likely 50 to 100 million Americans will know it to be true that there's this person by the name of Gary Vaynerchuk who wants to buy the Jets, and when that comes across whatever the Twitter or the AP or the ESPN or the Newswire of the day is, people are gonna be like, fuck.
Holy shit.
And for me, yes, there's that whole "I told you so," which I love. Drop double nickels on the crowd, but I think it becomes a fucking fairy tale. I think it becomes something that everybody can latch onto and say, if he was able to do that, my micro dream of owning a second home or
there's
starting
so
this school,
many small things.
Because it's so big and it started so early. And, you know, I've had enormous amounts of people come to me and saying that when they first heard it on my wine show in 2009, they laughed at me. They're like, you're in a liquor store in a fucking dungeon. Where the fuck are you? Like, and they come up to me now and like, I don't know. Maybe you
Well,
will do
and
this.
you've
Like,
said
you know,
it
like-
before. You've said it before, and this is a lot of what I preach in my personal content too. But if anybody that's looked like you has ever made it, right? It gives a lot. It's the same thing. And like
Jay-Z
I'm at a
should inspire so many. Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx, should inspire so many.
And that's what I'm trying to do, you know, on my personal side, is
If
inspire
Oprah can
people.
do it.
I feel like I'm still in a relatable place in our business where we're not so big that people think there's no way I could ever do that. Do you find that trouble with yourself at the scale that you're at, that people are like, I'll just never get there because it's so big now? But I feel like I'm at a place
I'm
where
not crippled by that. Mainly because I believe that to be true for 98% of people. I think that's the answer that 98% of people say. So I'm like, I actually default to thinking that's what everybody thinks. So I spend no time on that. It's back to my don't convince anybody. I'm like gonna just act.
just show 'em.
I'm just gonna act.